Hello, welcome to this episode of I Don't Know Jack About Parenting, where today is actually day one of a 5-part series. My wife was out of town for a week, and we're going to talk you through day by day. So, we're going to start with Monday.
So the big question is this: how are parents like us, who don't have a manual, who are doing the best we can, who feel as though we aren't enough, how are we going to raise healthy, happy children who we are proud of and still keep our sanity in that process? That's the question, and this podcast will give you the answers. My name is Ryan Roy, and welcome to I Don't Know Jack About Parenting, a podcast for parents who are being real with themselves.
Welcome back to this episode of I Don't Know Jack About Parenting, where I'm going to walk you through. Today is day one of a 5-part series, a week of my wife being away and what it's like to be a dad with 2 boys, and it all started on a Monday, right? It was a Monday through a Friday, and I just want to walk you through the craziness of Monday. I want to preface with Sunday was a day in which my 7-year-old was having a little bit of challenge with his responsibility around his video games, and they kind of had to be revoked for various reasons. 1, we had a busy week. 2, he was just having some challenges anxiety-wise, and I believe it stemmed from just too much time on the game and not enough time on life. And I shared that with him. I believe I shared it in another podcast. So Monday was a regular day. The wife was getting ready. She worked from home and was flying out that night. What really kind of threw a wrench into it, she was leaving as my son was coming home from school. He knew mom was leaving. He was kind of excited, but he wanted some bonding time with dad. And it's just, I normally pick the other one up at 4. Wife left at 3. He says, "Dad, can we go to the park?" I knew he needed some one-on-one time, especially if I was taking away his distraction, which was video games. He and I went to the park for a little bit. We went for about a 45-minute hike in a wooded area close to our house before we decided to go and pick up his brother. We were a little bit late picking up his brother. But here's the thing. And this is around awareness. I know I'm going to have the boys all by myself for an entire week. Do I really want to start that time off? My son had literally just gotten home. His mom left, and he's saying, "I want to go to the park." But what I think he was really saying was, "Dad, I want to spend some time with you." And that's what I heard, because we went to the park, and then he looked. He says, "Dad, you want to go for a hike?" And he knows I love going for a hike on this trail. It's just something. He goes, "But Dad, I'm a little scared, because the last time we went for a hike, there was a snake, which I discovered later on is a poisonous snake, and it was about 6 feet long. And I don't know about you. I don't know jack about parenting, but I know a little bit about snakes. They're ugly. They're reptiles. I know this about snakes. I don't like them. And he knows I don't like them. So when we spotted this snake, I remember saying to him, and I was with one of his friends also, I said, hey boys, to our right, let's treat this with respect. You see that big snake on the log?" They're like, "Where?" I said, "Right there." They're like, "Yeah." And I said, "Let's treat it with respect and walk way around it." And they did, and we continued our journey. But that kind of has scarred my son a little bit, because he hasn't really wanted to go for a hike since. And every time I bring it up, he's like, "There's snakes back there." Like, I don't tell him this, but there's snakes right in our backyard, and we just don't know about it. We haven't seen one. There's snakes where we live. So I think he wanted to spend time with Dad. He wanted to kind of make up for his mishap the day before around his video games, and he was like, "Dad, you want to go for a walk in the woods?" And we went for the walk. We were in there. We went across some bridges. We did some things. We started planning a restoration of some of the Boy Scouts have really mapped out a really good 1.3 mile path in this area. Talked about getting some of his friends and building some new bridges across some of the streams that are back there. We've had some heavy rains, so 2 of the 3 bridges that are built were actually destroyed in these downpour rains. And he's like, Dad, how do we build it back? I said, well, we got to bring a measuring tape out next time. We need to know how the distance. We need to buy some wood. Let's really build something sturdy like the one bridge that made it. And maybe we'll get some of your friends and we'll take a weekend to really do it right so that other people can enjoy it just the way the Boy Scouts have designed this so that we can enjoy it. Let's do our part. He got really excited. He goes, do you think we could build a fort out here? I said, I don't see why not, but let's see if I can't get some other dads to do it with us and some of your friends, and it'll be a group project, and everybody moving forward can enjoy the fort and the pride in building something that'll last and serve anyone who comes out here, as it's a trail that a lot of people go on. And he was like, that's awesome. So we had some really good discussion. We had some really good bonding time, and it was through exercise and you know, just communication. So we go and pick up his brother. He's all hype and excited because he got some dedicated time. He's spending some really good quality time with his brother at that point. But I'll tell you, 2 boys, no mom to manage kind of the downtime, the sleep time, as I manage the older one, she manages the baby. But dad and brother and big brother around, he has no desire to go down to sleep. So it was a little challenge getting him down to sleep, but eventually got him down. But the challenge arose at 3 o'clock in the morning. And if you listen to my other podcast around single parents, this is where it all lies. I got next to no sleep that night, and we'll just discuss this one, and then I'll tell you about Tuesday later. But that night around 2:30 in the morning, the little guy wanted to get up. And I had to go in. I brought him into the bed in his room. There's a spare bed in his room. And just laid there and kind of zonked back out. The funny thing is, I have an Apple Watch. It happened to be on. He had a night light on. He could see shadows and things. You could tell he was just mesmerized and trying to touch me and see where the shadow was, and the coloring was off, and he was just fascinated by the shadow of the fan on the ceiling. And then he turned on my watch. So I had no clock in the room. I took off my watch. I fall back asleep with him. He's pretty good about getting up around 5:30. So I reach down as he's getting up, and I'm like, really? Has time gone by? I reach down and I look at my watch and I read 5:30. I'm like, let me just get up. Mind you, the other one needs to get up at 6:30. I go downstairs, and what does the clock say? I misread my watch. It was 6:30 in the morning. And that's the beginning of my Tuesday morning, which I'll share with you on the next podcast. I don't know jack about parenting, but I know that I am grateful that we're a 2-person show in our family, and that we take on equal responsibility of the kids, knowing that either one of us could handle them for 5 days on our own, but we much prefer to have the other parent present to be a supporting role the rest of the way. We'll talk about Tuesday on tomorrow's podcast.
Do you want to be the dad you wish you had? If so, go get my free book, Be the Dad You Wish You Had, at BeTheDadYouWishYouHad.com. Inside, you'll find my most effective 40 tips to quickly and easily transform yourself into the ideal dad. Go to BeTheDadYouWishYouHad.com now and get it while it's free.